This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. What is Russia up to? I'd like to begin with Ukraine, the situation in Ukraine. And the question is, will Ukraine become part of the EU, the European Union, or will they become part of Russia? Deutsche Welle wrote on April 28. The Russian President Vladimir Putin is already testing Ukraine's President-elect Volodymyr Zelensky. He, of course, the former TV comedian and personality. In fact, Putin's latest decree, which has to do with granting Russian passports and citizenship to Ukrainian separatists loyal to Russia, so this decree can be seen as pseudo-legal preparation for military moves. Putin made it clear he is not interested in easing the tension between Moscow and Kiev. There is no other way to interpret the decree he issued on Wednesday. The article goes on to say, Putin's decree is a provocation. What he is aiming to do is to separate the territories in eastern Ukraine already effectively occupied by Russia, even more clearly and permanently from the Ukrainian state. But that's not really all Putin is trying to do. Putin's goal is to incorporate the entirety of Ukraine into the Russian Empire. Bloomberg wrote on April 29. Vladimir Putin said he may extend an offer of citizenship to cover the entirety of Ukraine. Russia will start issuing passports on May 3, with separatist officials and military forces receiving them first. Russia has made similar moves in other breakaway regions in the former Soviet Union and in at least one case used the presence of newly converted citizens as justification for military intervention. Now, the U.S. State Department last week condemned Putin's decree as highly provocative and accused Putin of intensifying his assault on Ukraine's sovereignty. Germany, France, other countries also issued a joint statement condemning the move. The Bible shows, my friends, that Ukraine and Russia will ultimately collaborate militarily. They will become part of one bloc. It's going to be a bloc hostile to the Western world. We have explained this in detail in our free booklet, The 10 European Revivals of the Ancient Roman Empire. But now let's go a step further and talk about Serbia. ABC News wrote on May 2. Serbia's pro-Russian defense minister warned Thursday the Balkan country could ditch its European Union membership goals for close ties with Moscow. Although Serbia formally seeks EU membership, its populist leaders have gradually steered Serbia towards its ally, Russia. Moscow is a key backer of Serbia's stance over Kosovo, which declared independence from Serbia in 2008. Now, Belgrade does not recognize Kosovo's independence. We don't know from the Bible what's going to happen to Serbia and Kosovo in particular, whether they both will become part of the EU, whether they will become part of Russia, whether one will become part of Russia, the other will become part of the EU. All we know is that a mighty power bloc in the Far East will form, as I said, hostile towards the Western world and the EU. And one of the players, in all likelihood, is going to be North Korea. They will also be part of that power bloc. The Daily Mail wrote this on April 24. 4 North Korean officials have reportedly been executed for selling information to the US ahead of the failed nuclear arms meeting between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. The 4 workers, all said to be from the Foreign Ministry, were allegedly killed by firing squad after talks in Vietnam between the two countries broke down. News of the alleged killing comes as North Korean media reported that Kim's sister, Kim Yo-jong, had been demoted from at least one of her titles. And subsequently, Kim Jong-un met with Vladimir Putin to talk about their common future. This mighty power bloc in the Far East will in all likelihood consist of Russia, China, Japan, India, North Korea, Pakistan, and other countries. As I said, in competition to the EU. And that brings me to another situation, this time in Venezuela. Axios wrote on April 30 that the US has ratcheted up sanctions, arguing that Venezuela's economic crisis will never end until President Maduro leaves power. Russia has sent troops in support of Maduro, and China has also defended the regime. Deutsche Welle added on April 30 that US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has said Maduro was ready to go into exile in Cuba, but was persuaded by Russia to stay. President Donald Trump has called on Cuba to immediately cease its military support for Venezuela. But it doesn't stop there, because Deutsche Welle went on to write on May 1 that Venezuela's acting president Nicolas Maduro appeared on state television alongside military and intelligence officers on Wednesday to announce that loyal and obedient troops had successfully quashed a failed coup attempt by self-proclaimed interim president Juan Guaidó. Maduro claimed Guaidó had initiated the current uprising to create a pretext for a U.S. military intervention. Although Pompeo said the U.S. wants a peaceful transfer of power, he warned, and I quote, "The president has been crystal clear and incredibly consistent. Military action is possible. If that's what's required, that's what the United States will do." What we see here is another situation which can lead to a deteriorating relationship between, on the one hand, Russia, China, Cuba, and perhaps some other Muslim countries being allies to Russia, and the United States of America. Now, the EU also is taking the same position as the US has been insofar as Maduro is concerned, but they have warned against a military intervention, having ruled that out. Of course, Russia has also warned the US that they shouldn't militarily intervene while they bring their troops and their weapons already into the country. It's no surprise that a newcomer in US Congress, a female Muslim, is now blaming the United States for the chaos in Venezuela. What does it all mean? Does it mean that a war is going to break out between the United States of America on the one hand and Russia and this power bloc I talked about on the other hand? No. The Bible does not indicate at all that a war is going to occur between Russia on the one hand and the United States on the other hand prior to Christ's return. But the Bible tells us something much more surprising, and that is that a war will break out between this Far Eastern power bloc under Russian and Chinese leadership on the one hand and Europe on the other hand. That is very, very clear. And our free booklet, The 10 European Revivals of the Ancient Roman Empire, tells you how this is going to come about. Now, we are seeing already signs insofar as that development is concerned, and we know when this is happening, the return of Christ is imminent. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.